Well, on the fan, here is a rugby league man through and through, Mr. Michael Hagan, who won premierships as both a player and a coach. Welcome to the fan, Michael.
Posse, how you going?
Well, they're not bad looking fit. I don't know really where to start because the success is there. There's also lows, like you know what wooden spoons are like. But let's start with comparison between winning premiership as player as opposed to winning premiership as coach, which is something you did your very first year. How do they compare? How do you sum up the emotions of the two?
Yeah, a bit different. I mean, I was part of a Canterbury club that was very successful and expecting to win competitions, I think, nearly, in that 80s period. So I was very fortunate to be part of all that. Got caught up in it, I guess, in 85, 88. A bit younger, I guess, maybe 21 and 24. Had a great time and around some really good players, good coaches, good fans, a good club. And then I guess as a coach, there's so much more going on that you've got to consider and a lot more going on with a whole range of stakeholders. So a little bit of a different, but still just as much fun if you're good enough to win one, which we were. I
bet you 24-0 at half-time was fun. But we'll get back to the coaching side. Let's go back to playing career. You join the Canterbury Bankstown Club, a Queenslander in the ranks, and plenty made their way to Sydney. How did that all come about right back at the start?
Yeah, it came about via sort of the Australian Schoolboys Carnival. I was part of the Queensland sort of schoolboy team back in maybe 81, I think. And there was a bit of a connection there with Bobby Hagan, who had coached the Bulldogs, did a bit of scouting for them, and the legendary Peter Moore and Bob agreed that it would be good for me to go to Canterbury and try my wares down there. Went down as an 18-year-old, spent a bit of time with the Bankstown Sports under-18s team initially, and then third grade, second grade, first grade. That was
the old-fashioned progression.
And again, I was very fortunate to be in such a strong club at that time.
I look back at Canterbury there and like a scary pack.
Yep.
What was it like playing with those enforcers up front, you know, Cement and the others
so
doing their work?
I mean,
Peter Kelly, those players.
Warren Ryan introduced a particular scoring system in defence where if it was a one-point tackle, you'd stop their momentum. 2 would be on that side of the advantage line. 3, you'd drive them backwards, and 4, you'd put them in the hurt box. Right. So I spent my time defending alongside David Gillespie. Yes. Where no one would run at him. Right. Perfect.
Nice.
And you didn't have to make too many. I would make 31-point tackles. Yes. And Cement would make 10 3-point tackles. Right. But it was good to be around him. Good to get tangled up with him sometime.
The last game you played for Canterbury is 1988, the grand final. Yeah. I'm going to ask you, what was said about Ellery Hanley pre the 88 grand final?
Not much was said, but we all knew how he was the best player at the back end of that season, wasn't he? Like Balmain had that unbelievable run of games to get into the grand final. I'll never forget running out. We got a bit of applause, but the Balmain, the roar for them when they came on the field was like something else at Sydney Football Stadium. And he was, way and above the best player at that time. Did he come in for some extra attention? Quite possibly.
Nicely put. Quite possibly.
But
did
Warren
he come
Ryan
in for some extra attention?
And Phil Gould, they had a very strong focus on being aggressive. I'll just leave it at that.
OK, now, in that grand final is a grand final try. And in these days of Google, it's pretty cool, I'd reckon, that grandchildren, kids, can Google Hagan, Michael Hagan, and up will come a grand final try. That moment is probably even more special now.
Yeah, looking back, and the other special moment was my dad, Tommy, who's gone now. He was sitting behind the goalposts on that day. So that was a pretty special moment. And the good thing was I was being chased by Michael Neal. And I wasn't the quickest bloke on the field, as you know. So I'm thankful, and he was a great player, but I'm pleased he was chasing me and not anyone else.
Now, here's the amazing quantum leap in the career. You go from, this tremendous success with Canterbury to link with the Newcastle Knights in their second season.
Yep.
1989. Incredibly, you would play 5 years and not miss a game. Is that right? You played... Did not miss a game for 5 seasons with the Newcastle Knights and took over captaincy in 89 as well.
Yeah, so I had a really good run with a number of games played. Didn't tackle anybody or get tackled. That helps.
We're establishing that point.
So the dinner suit helps. Although we did get coached by Al McMahon, he was quite an aggressive mentor as well.
OK, we'll get to 2001, the premiership in a moment, but on the playing career, we do have to talk State of Origin because the Origin appearances you made as a player are in what I regard as 2 of the great years for Queensland, 88, 89. I mean, sensational years. You must Like that must be, you must be so fond to look back on those times, to be part of that squad with some of the best players.
Yeah, so I got to watch the first Origin game in the Adult Lang Park in 1980 as a 16-year-old.
Yep. Watched
Wally Lewis, Mal Meninga, Arthur Beetson.
Yeah.
Never dreamt I would get the opportunity to play alongside some of those players 5 or 6 years post.
Yep.
Again, I got the opportunity to come in at a critical time. Alfie Langer broke his ankle. I got an opportunity to play halfback, got an opportunity to play 5'8". Wally Lewis didn't miss many games, so. No. But I felt that I could fit into that team, and Arthur Beetson was the coach. We're all made to feel really much part of the group, and yeah, some champion players at that time: Gary Belcher, Mal, Bobby Lindner.
Yeah, good. Just rattle off all those names, and you're part of that story.
Yeah, and again, I think the Queensland mindset of you come in and do the job for the team, and we had a pretty successful couple of years.
All right, let's go to coaching. First year as first grade coach, and you've got this Newcastle side, and they win the premiership, and the shock scoreline at halftime to this day, 24-0. Can you honestly say, hand on heart, I thought we could do that? Or not? Is your coaching that damn good that you could get a team to 24-0 in the grand final?
I think we knew we had to start well because Parramatta had such a great year, and they were the favourites in the game by a fair margin. But our week leading up and the way we finished the year, I was pretty confident with the type of players and team that we had. Some players that were sort of on the way up, like Danny Badiris hadn't played maybe Origin football at that time, Steve Simpson, Sean Rudder, Tamana Tahu, along with Matt Gidley, Billy Peden, Andrew Johns, and so on. There was a lot of players that had been there before. Robbie O'Davis had been in premiership appearances before. So we sort of had a bit of confidence as a group, even though maybe outside of that, we weren't given much hope on the day. Yeah.
You coached Joey and that grand final. I think in that grand final he might have topped the tackle count.
Yep.
Hidden away in the stats of the grand final, which is worth noting. Was he easy to coach? Was he hard to coach? Was he, what could you do? Were there times where you thought, well, I was a good player, I won premiership, but can I teach this bloke anything?
Oh, no, there was no real coaching going. It was working with him around what does our week look like, what are the sort of plays that we want to run in the team. But he was fantastic to work with, and tremendous trainer, good around the team, good fun, competitive, could play with injury, tough. So if you're talking about a player that epitomises the Newcastle Knights, Andrew Johns would be front and centre of all that.
And in your coaching career, you got to coach Queensland, and that team, I mean, I could just rattle off names, Lockyer and Slater and Thurston.
Webke.
And that was just before the run started. You took the Queensland side to deciders in 2 years, but lost those 2 series, and then they would go on the run.
Yep.
That surely is fun. Or is there too much pressure around Origin to enjoy it at the time?
Wayne Bennett, who appointed me to that role, said it's got the 3 Ps. A lot of pressure, a lot of prestige, but the pay's not very good. So I was in that era.
To finish, let's play a little bit of fast money, Sale of the Century.
Right.
The day from your rugby league playing career you'd like to relive right now, the one day.
88 grand final.
Dad there, score the try?
Yeah, and to win that game with your best mates, and it was my last game for the Bulldogs before I knew I was leaving. Best
player you played alongside?
Wally Lewis.
Best player you coached?
Andrew Johns.
Now, that's in a big field. That is with all the Origin players as well. But Joey's there. And finally, did you finish your time hands-on in rugby league? Because you still went on to be assistant coach of Queensland. But do you feel as if, is there a regret? Is there something that you would have liked to have done that you didn't do?
No, I think I've been invited and had the opportunity nearly at every level of this game, and I'm really thankful. I'm still involved with the media. I've been involved with the Kangaroos. So I think I've been quite blessed. So I don't think I'd change too much.
Well, the smartest man in rugby league, Michael Hagan. But very honest as
Thanks, Bossy. Good on you, mate.
Michael Hagan on The Fan.